What's going on, Javier Lobby? It's your boy Javier with the Javier Show. Make sure you say it twice. I got the unique pleasure today to talk to somebody I consider to be a close friend, somebody that I used to have conversations with early on in the channel, and we kind of lost touch with each other over time, but we've had a few back and forth through text on Skype and things of that sort, and we finally reconnecting. But he's telling me that he has something to reveal to me, and we've had a lot of deep discussions about religion and politics mainly, and I'm just excited to have him back on and have a deep discussion and see kind of what he's been up to and see if y'all can get any value about our exchange, and it should be very interesting. With that being out of the way, let's get my boy Mike on. You know what it is. Stay tuned.
1 in a million to 1 billion. Too hot to be in the kitchen. I'll end up melting the ceiling.
Mike, what's up, brother?
What's up, Javier? Good to be back. It's been a minute, dude.
Yeah, man. I heard you been hibernating, man. I'm just glad to see that you picking your head up. It must be Groundhog Day.
Something like that. Maybe a little early because it's still January.
Yeah. But how you been? Everything been all right?
Bro, has anybody been all right these days? Is anybody all right? Is there a person who's not suffering and going through extreme chaos and confusion right now?
That's a really valid question to ask. I think even if you're not in physical danger, I think a lot of people are suffering mentally, especially with the COVID-19 and the lockdowns in different parts of the country or different countries in general, and just the polarization in the country as well. It's just everybody is trying to figure out a lot of different variables at the moment, and it's crazy. But good to have you back, brother. It's very good to have you back.
So, yeah, you summed it up perfectly, because that's exactly where I'm at. Figuring out some variables is a good way to say it. So what I've been up to, really, it's been like 2 years almost now that I've been kind of reevaluating myself and reevaluating my life. So that's kind of one of the reasons I'm on, because I'm back on your show, is because it's a great opportunity to share some of the developments that I've been going through, and I'm sure a lot of people have been going through as well, because I'm really a firm believer that we're all growing together, right?
Yeah.
And so if I can share some of the difficulties I've overcome recently, maybe other people will identify. Maybe other people it'll spark something.
Yeah,
maybe in your mind, Javier.
Yeah, I like discussing with you, because we can always venture into some of the deepest, darkest depths of conversations. I get it. Like, there's a fundamental part of me who really likes to dive deep into the psychology of people and how we analyze the world and why we behave the way we behave. And that's something that I think you really appreciate, and something that we touched on many times.
Yep.
And that's what, if anybody's wondering who's watching this right now, that's why Mike is here right now, because we might not necessarily go too dark or too deep, but I definitely consider him to be somebody that will allow our minds to venture off and see where it goes and kind of poke the bear and see what happens.
So yeah, dude. And another reason, let's get specific. Let's get specific. So another reason why I'm back, the whole thing that fucking triggered this, I got triggered, bro. I got triggered by you. You triggered me. Is you posed the question, which, I mean, it's posed all the time. It's not like that the question is unique, but you asked me, what's the difference between philosophy and science? And I really dug into that question. And there's corollaries with the question, right? Like, what is the difference between philosophy and religion, for example? And that led me to think about, what is religion, really, right? Because it's one of those things that I thought that I had figured out in my life, right? And then I dove into my work, and I thought, oh, it's done. I know what religion is. But then when I started looking at it again, right? Because you fucking triggered me, you bastard. I realized, I realized I hadn't really thought it through all the way. So, to make a long story short, I'm about to say something. These words have never left my mouth in public before. And for some people, this might be whatever bullshit. But for me, this will have massive implications, especially if people who know me personally end up watching this. But I'm about to say it. Can I say it, Javier?
Hey, man, drum roll. Go ahead, brother.
I am an atheist. Oh, that hurts. Oh, that hurts to say. Oh, that hurts to say.
But there's something there. There's something there. The fact that it hurts you to say it, there's something psychological going on there. There's something psychological.
It doesn't hurt that bad. It doesn't hurt that bad.
Right.
It's very liberating. I'll tell you the reason why it hurts. It's not fucking psychological. I'll tell you the fucking reason why it hurts. Because I think I don't want to be identified as an atheist. Here's the problem. I think that atheism as a position, as like a personal position or personal philosophical position, it is what it is. It's beautiful, right? My problem with saying those words is people then putting you into the camp of Richard Dawkins, right? I fucking hate Richard Dawkins. God damn it, do I hate Richard Dawkins, bro.
Yo, listen. All right. Here's a beautiful thing. Regardless of whether you use the word or not, there's no authority in atheism. Now, we can't necessarily control what other people assume when they hear something, right? It's just like if I say conservative, somebody might instantly think Donald Trump, or somebody might instantly think, you can never, or some shit. You can never control what other people think. And then you have to ask yourself, is it worth the baggage that comes with something?
Right.
Yeah. And I get that you're weighing that. And I wrestle with those things as well with any label that I use, right? But the reason that I would use the word atheist, right, is because now I have a chance to replace what other people assume when they hear the word with something else.
Yes, but to me that's kind of a wasteful strategy, because what you end up getting bogged down in these stupid conversation. What do you mean by this? What do you mean by this? It's like, if you have a word and you don't know what it means and you're using it and you have to explain it, well, you might as well just invent a new word.
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean?
That is meaningful, unless you're the type of person who finds enjoyment and excitement in having those conversations, and it doesn't bother you at all to discuss those things. I honestly think while other people might get frustrated having to talk about the same things over and over and over, whereas me, I see it as an opportunity to not only learn something, but challenge myself over and over. Can I put this a different way? Can I engage with this person in a way? Where is this person coming from? It's more of a activity. It's like if you play football and the rules of football doesn't really change. It may change here and there, but for the most part, the rules are already set. But you wouldn't stop playing a sport just because it never changes. You would still enjoy the process of playing that sport, even though the rules remain the same, if that makes sense. That's what I get.
If I'm completely following you, can you elaborate a little bit?
Me having conversations about atheism or Christianity, or trying to explain what atheism is and what it isn't, to me, it's more a part of playing a sport than it is necessarily getting the point across all the time. You know what I'm saying? You might not score the goal every time, but you enjoy the process of playing that game.
Right. Okay. I see what you're saying. And having productive conversations, having deep, meaningful conversations, that is the essence of life, right? Yeah. That's my thing. My thing is the exploration of human consciousness, and in particular, through conversation, through communication, right? Language, writing, right? Last we spoke, you were working on a book. You still chugging away?
I'm almost finished. I got almost 80,000 words, and it was supposed to be 70,000 words to start off with, but it's almost 80,000. I'm probably going a little over 80,000, probably like 85,000. But it's that book. It's going beautifully, and I'm so impressed with it, and I'm just so excited about it.
Can't wait to read it. Can't wait till that stuff comes out. But yeah, that's nothing against that, and I'm not saying shit about that. What I'm saying is, like, you have a word. We have certain words with established definitions. For example, socialism. For example, capitalism, right? They mean certain things, right?
Yeah.
And when you're talking, or for example, God, right? These are three big ones. Love would be another one, but love is one of those that's not political. Well, not fully. No, nobody has. Has anybody ever done
Yeah,
a
nobody.
political slogan with love?
It won't get you very far. Not in this world.
I don't know, man.
I mean,
Right. I mean, it's sloganeering though. Anyway,
yeah.
so when you have my point about that is and kind of to tie it into the whole atheism thing, right? And to tie it into to what you just said is when you're speaking about Christianity and atheism, do you have the intent of or the hope that maybe you'll quote unquote wake some people up and get some people to progress out of a destructive belief system that they might be in? Christianity.
It depends. It depends on the context. It depends on the venue. When I have conversations with people, specifically on my YouTube channel, and I'm putting this out for other people to analyze, I'm not necessarily trying to convince the other person that I'm speaking with. If that happens, that's okay. But to me, it makes no difference. What I'm trying to do is follow the conversation in such a manner that other people will learn to ask the right questions or investigate the right answers, if that makes sense.
So you're trying to influence other people to to think. I don't want to use the word, maybe think critically, think rationally, to think productively about their belief system, so that they're not, just
and
God
also,
exists because God said so. Yeah. That's the way it is because God said so, and that's it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and also it's for me as well, because even if it's a possibility that I could be wrong in my worldview, I know there are people out there who just refuse to think that they could be wrong, but I could be wrong. I don't know enough. I'm not smart enough to know everything.
You are wrong.
And 9 times out of 10, I'm probably wrong about a lot of things, right? And what I'm doing is I'm allowing other people who disagree with me to sharpen their tools to better challenge me.
Right.
So that it also
beautiful.
Yeah.
And that I completely get. And so my whole point would be is if you're spending X amount of time of each conversation establishing definitions, that what you just described is not happening. What's happening is just description. You're describing. It's like if I were to describe, Javier, you got black headphones on, and you say, well, what is the color black? I do not understand the color black. It's like your skin, man.
These conversations can only truly happen if you share some kind of common understanding of what words mean and what they don't mean. And of course, you're going to run across people who have a totally disagreement on fundamentally how you define the word atheist or Christian. There are Christians who see being a Christian as something totally different what other Christians believe. And if you don't share that common thread of understanding or agreeing on a certain definition, of course, you're going to get bogged down into trying to best understand what you mean when you say a word. And I agree, those things may not be as productive. And you might want to cut through that red tape if you're having a conversation with somebody. Say, instead of me calling myself an atheist, I'm just going to ask you about your beliefs, or we're going to have a conversation about what it is you believe and how you believe it. Right. And that's a perfectly rational way to go about it. And that's fair. And the good thing about it is there are people like you, and then there are people like me. And there's a two-tone approach to this whole thing. And I'll be able to reach some people by my method, and you'll be able to reach some people by your method. And you just do the best you can, if that makes sense.
Right. And that's exactly why I said it hurts. It doesn't hurt for any. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to lie and say that there's not, emotional trauma and emotional shit that happened because you're indoctrinated into this stuff as a kid, and that doesn't just go away. But the reason for pain is, right, if I say I'm an atheist and then we get into a subtle conversation of what exactly I mean by that and our beliefs and what you just said, then what will happen is everybody will hate me. Because the atheists would be like, no, you're not a real atheist. And the Christians would be like, oh, you're the Antichrist. Right? The atheists will be like, you're a Christian, you're a Christian dogmatist. The Christian would be like, you're the Antichrist.
Early on, even before I started this YouTube stuff, and when I was getting into the whole intellectualism mindset of trying to do a deep dive in knowledge and stuff like that, I asked myself, because I was naive coming out of juvenile, and I was thinking that if I could just express all of these things that I had figured out and learned along the way, that people would just accept what I had to say because it makes sense, right? And then naive me thinks that that's going to work, and it doesn't work. And then I started to try to formulate, is there a perfect sentence that you could say that no matter who heard you, if they can understand the language, would agree with you? And I would wrestle with this time and time again. Like, there has to be the perfect argument that would convince anybody, regardless of what their biases is. Nope. And yo, it may not work, but it darn sure allows you to dive deep inside yourself and try to analyze the thought and, you know, how to organize conversation.
Right. I mean, it's man, there's so much shit I want to say about this, but like one thing, I mean, generally speaking, the problem is, and this would be like a critique of more right-wing ideologies, is the assumption that human beings are rational beings. We are absolutely not rational beings. I mean, I think we have the capacity to be rational, but to operate rationally, first of all, is difficult. It's not easy. There's evolutionary reasons for this, and it's essentially has to do with the fact that you're.
Let me ask you a question real quick. Let me because I don't want to miss this point. Why do you think that's a critique of the right wing position? I don't see that as like a right wing idea. At least
you just see that as a neutral, like. Well, I mean, from.
I think conservatism comes with the whole idea that humans are flawed, and that's why we need structures and we need things in place to minimize those flaws and increase those things that actually function. Or
right. So I didn't say that the right believes that the human being is ideal, but I think the right puts too much emphasis on like for example, in economics, right? In free market economics, there's so much emphasis on or there's basically an assumption that the consumer or the capitalist or whoever the participant in the market will always make rational decisions, right? So it's like there's always the assumption that if I have Javier selling me a pencil for $5 and Joe selling me a pencil for $4 and it's the exact same pencil, I'm going to go with Joe, right? That's the rational thing. But I might buy from Javier for $4 because Javier has good manipulative marketing tactics and he seduces me, and I believe that his pencil is worth the extra dollar.
Here's the beauty in that, though. It allows for the market to self-correct itself, because those people who practice certain behaviors within the market, usually 9 times out of 10, they can only get away with it for so long. And we learn from it. And once you learn that mistake, the market can then accommodate for that mistake and build within it a system to protect against that type of behavior. And of course, people are always going to continue to create new ways. But in a way, when things break, it allows people to find better ways to prevent that from breaking in the first place. And then you'll have new problems. But with each new problem that you solve, the system just gets better and better and better and better. But
that's
not always.
Theory. That's
but
the
not
theory.
Always. I agree.
Right?
That's the theory. Yeah.
I really see the Enlightenment out of which, like, as a philosophical movement in Europe, as the foundation out of which our current society has arisen. And I really believe that the Enlightenment, but too much, right? It's not like I'm not completely negating the concept of the free individual. And that would be a stupid thing to do. But I think the Enlightenment puts too much emphasis on individuality. And so today what's happened in a way is you have so much emphasis on individuality that literally I can tell you, Javier, for the next 30 minutes, I'm a woman. And if I say that sincerely, right, the social norms are changing such that you have to accept that. And so for the next 30 minutes, you got to call me Michal. Right.
All right, Michal.
Right. Like obviously, I'm joking, but right, if I was serious about it, right, and I'm a guest on your public show and you didn't accept my request, you would be considered to be a bigot, or you'd be considered to be a bad man, whatever.
Yeah. But which is fine, right? Because the whole individual aspect of it is I do get to make that choice, and I have to accept the consequences that come with it in the context of the society in which I live.
You get to make a choice as to whether you're a man or a woman in any given moment.
No, I get to make the choice whether I agree with you or decide to go along with your narrative. And I know that there are consequences to that, which I may be perfectly fine dealing with. History is filled with people who go against the grain in order to do what is right or to speak up for what is true. And the whole philosophy behind the whole individualism is that it's basically preventing capital punishment, or basically condemning any one individual based on their group identity or what the group represents. So, for example, if a large percentage of Black men go out and commit crimes, does that therefore make Javier a criminal? No.
Yes.
Which I used to be, but I wouldn't say that embodies me. But, you know, it's to try to prevent those who unjustly don't deserve a certain criticism or outcome from being victimized by their group or being cast in with those people who look like them or belong to whatever group that they belong to. Right. So it's a double-edged sword. I do get you that, but that's with anything in life. There are no solutions. There are only trade-offs. Thomas, so you know what I'm saying?
There you go. See, yeah, there you go. See, and like that's a concept that is that's more of like a reality concept, right? That's a reality-based concept that like there's no such thing as a free lunch, right? People think of that as an economic concept. It's not an economic concept. That's just reality. There's no such thing, right? Or it's because we're gonna die, right? So because you're gonna die, your time is limited. You have to choose. Every choice you make in your life, you're killing potential, right? So the older you get, the more you go, the less avenues you have because you've cut off the other ones because you have to. And there's no other way. One of the brutal things for a person like me facing that reality as I'm growing up is because I love talking with people and being with people, is you come to realizations like, shit, I have to pick my friends now because I don't have time for all these friends, right? And it's like, how do you fucking say no to chill ass people that are in your life, right? But you have to. And so that kills you on the inside, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't necessarily even have to choose. In reality, they'll choose you. If you start to change and you start to behave a certain way and get your stuff together, those people who are truly friends will stick with you, and those who are deserving of being in that type of, you know, new
right. But like I'm not even talking about that. That like be that as it may. Like that's there's an interactive aspect to reality. But what I'm saying is like just as one example, right? It's like because when you're a kid, right, especially if you're like a nerdy ass kid like me. He's just like, oh, come on, be friends with me, guys. I want more friends. And then like, but then when you come to realize like, holy shit, I have too many friends. I don't have time for all these friends. Get the fuck out of here, people.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I get you.
But that's an example of what you were talking about, right? It's just a reality concept, right? It's like if we're gonna either watch the basketball game or we're gonna watch the political debate or we're gonna watch Javier's channel. Which we need to watch twice every day.
Twice.
But yeah. So, but to bring it back to like the group ideology and the ideas or right, like what do you mean and misdefining things, like that's an important conversation to have. And so to bring it back to the atheism thing, which is what I want to talk to you about. One of the realizations I've come to is that a mistake atheists make is they go after Christianity too much. Sometimes they'll go after the Muslims, right? Like you'll have what's his name? What's that atheist name that doesn't believe in free will?
Sam Harris.
Sam Harris. Yeah, he goes after the Muslims a lot. But and then nobody goes after the Jews, right? And even like a statement like that, we need to go after the Jews. It's like you fucking anti-Semite.
I would agree. I would agree that there's an oversaturation of going after Christians. Even though I've seen debates with like Christopher Hitchens and Sam Harris with Rabbinic Jews and Muslims and things of that sort. But I get you. It's an oversaturation in the market of atheists directly going after the Christian God,
and
which happens to be the majority in. Let's just be honest. Christianity is the majority in America. And American atheists are the ones who basically started this whole movement.
Ooh, that is an ignorant ass American statement, son.
How so?
How do you Americans started the atheist movement?
No,
Atheism existed long before
not
America.
Not atheism, the atheist movement, the new atheist movement that came about after
like its modern version today.
Yeah,
right. I mean, but that's because fucking everything comes out of America, bro. Except unless you're living in China. No, I'm serious, dude.
Yeah,
America
that's why I say it makes sense
is the
that
new
Christianity
right?
is the main target. That's why I say it makes sense that Christianity is the main target.
Okay, I got you. Okay, yeah. I feel what you're saying. But see, but I think that it's a mistake in your thinking to separate these three religions. I think we really, really ought to bring them together and say, create a word like Abrahamism, right? Because they all come from Abraham. And so when I was thinking about religion, this is really the point that I drilled down into. And at a certain point, I said to myself, I am not of Abraham, right? And so when I say something like I am an atheist, I would much prefer to say something like I am not of Abraham. I don't know nothing about Abraham. I don't fucking believe in his vision of a God. That guy's a fucking psycho from 5,000 years ago. Same thing with Muhammad, right?
Let's be. I think the word that most people will refer to is monotheism. And when they speak of monotheism, they're basically grouping together the three dominant monotheistic religions: Judaism, Islam, and Christianity. And yes, here's the thing. Atheism is not the same thing as deism. There are people out there who believe in a higher power, some kind of God, but that they don't believe that God interferes with the world, has rules, wrote a Bible or a Quran or any book or edict that people must follow. Atheists, for the most part, are not declaring that. At least, all right, this is muddy territory because I personally don't think that atheists can make the claim that there is no God. That would be a positive claim that you would have to provide evidence for it to prove. What they were saying is, I don't have enough evidence to convince myself of such a God, right? That says nothing about you saying that I don't believe that the Christian God exists or the Muslim God exists, because based on the evidence that we have that been presented to us, none of those things meet the bar. And a lot of times people confuse these two concepts. They think that the atheist proposition should be there are no gods, or we can prove there is no God, and we have justification for believing it. So I just can't take that route. And I know there are going to be atheists who disagree with me. But when we talk about going after the three monotheistic religions, right? For some reason, I do not see atheists going hard after the Buddhists or the Hindus, or even like not as much as Judaism and stuff like that. I get you. But why do you think that is necessarily a mistake?
Because the way I'm looking, I'm looking at it from a much more personal point of view. Like, I don't give a fuck what you believe. Ultimately, not only do I not give a fuck, like your beliefs are going to be variable. If you're an honest person, right? You'll recognize that it's a mistake to hold on to even no matter like how good it is. If you that old saying, right? Is if all you have is a hammer, everything starts to look like a nail. So even if you come up to a beautiful belief that's like helping you in this time in your life, right? You got your beautiful hammer and you're hammering your nails and it's successful. If you stick too much to it, eventually you're going to get into a period in your life where you have no more nails. All you got is, I don't know, hot dogs. So you don't need that hammer anymore, right? You need pincers to pick up the hot dogs, whatever. The point being that
hey, let me ask you a question.
Your beliefs have to change, right? Your beliefs have to change.
Let me ask you a question real quick. Side note, since you brought up hot dogs, what did the Buddhists say to the hot dog vendor?
No, I don't know what.
Make me one with everything.
That's a good one.
I will admit that I first heard that joke from Christopher Hitchens. I don't know where he got it from, but
that's a beautiful one. That is a beautiful joke.
Yeah, it just seemed fitting for the time. I'm sorry for interrupting you, but
no, it's cool, dude. It's cool. It's fitting. That hot dog vendor must have been the Buddha. It must be an enlightened hot dog vendor, right?
Oh yeah,
right. Because you go up to the Buddha and you say, "Make me one with everything, master." Right? Yeah. The Buddha gives you some crazy some crazy schemes, like find every mustard seed in the village and come back to me. And you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's very weird that we have this relationship where even like Sam Harris, you brought up Sam Harris and how he sympathizes with Buddhism. I'm not saying that he's a Buddhist or anything, but I would hear atheists give Buddhism necessarily a pass, not directly, but indirectly by not going after it, right? And I bought a book about Buddhism. I actually, I have it on my shelf up here, and there was all these stories about how Buddha used to be a woman in his past life, and he chopped off his boob in order to feed a woman so she wouldn't eat her baby, and the gods rewarded Buddha for being so giving or something, and they made him a man instead of her being a woman. The Buddha in the past life was a woman. They turned him into a man because it was better to be a man than a woman. And there are stories like that nobody goes after. Nobody sits down and spend 30 minutes attacking Buddhist philosophy or stories. But I get your point.
Right, because Buddhists are the nice guys, right, in the religious world, where nobody realizes that Buddhists also fight wars, and Buddhists also, like, there's a great book, and you can even get the PDF for free, I think. It's called Stripping the Gurus. I believe that's what it is. And it goes through all of these like spiritual gurus, and it talks about basically it debunks them, right? So it'll go into like for example, there's these larger than life personalities that you're never supposed to, right? They've been canonized in one way or another. So one example is Mahatma Gandhi, right? Nobody ever talks shit about Gandhi, but nobody knows that Gandhi would fucking sleep with like his 9-year-old cousin naked in the same bed. Right, like fucking, and it was, like shit like that. Gandhi would like fucking rip off his charities and use them money for personal shit.
Listen.
I could be mixing up my facts because it's been a minute. But if you look, or another person is like Nelson Mandela, right? Nelson Mandela was probably a fucking criminal in a lot of ways. Probably killed people. And again, I don't remember. It's been a while since I looked into his biography.
Well,
I know.
Listen. I just want to point out to everybody watching this right now, I am not going to get this video monetized at all.
Dude, forget about it.
I mean, forget about it. This is the type of conversation that was happening before monetization was even on the table.
You're not going to get your 30 silver pieces, Judas.
Right, yeah, my 30. So look, but while we're on the subject, y'all, I put in the description below 5 books that I really enjoy. I've read them and they helped me develop as a person, strategy, as far as thinking. I highly recommend that y'all go down below and purchase one of those books from Amazon. I'm an Amazon affiliate. So if you purchase it also helps the show. So I definitely recommend that y'all go and check it out. Sorry about that, bro, but I just wanted to let everybody know while it was on my mind. Since we're not monetizing this one. But
send your shillings. Send your shillings to Javier. He needs them.
Yeah, but I do want to I want to take this conversation as far as not just atheism, but the whole concept psychologically about being an outcast in society, because now you're in a position where I know that you won't necessarily use that label. You won't go around and say, "Hey, y'all, I'm an atheist." I get that, right? Fair point. And I want to understand not only how you came to this conclusion, but I also want to discuss how has it impacted you psychologically coming to that realization. And we're going to do that in the Patreon section. So for those of you who want to hear my boy Michal's story.
girl, and when we switch to the Patreon section, I'll switch genders back to men.
If y'all want to hear my girl Michal's story about how they came to the conclusion of being a non-believer and how that has affected them psychologically, I highly recommend that you go subscribe to the Patreon, or you join the memberships. You hit that join button next to the subscribe button below, and you will get the extended Patreon section of this conversation. Thank y'all so much for watching. Thank y'all so much for listening. Till next time, everybody, be peaceful and be great. We are out.
1 in a million to 1 billion. Too hot to be in the kitchen. I'll end up melting the ceiling.